So it's time to do the lips and cheeks rig. It's a very simple process. I place a joint wherever I want major control, so corners of the mouth, center of the mouth, and then I usually put one joint in between there, and then same for the lower, and then usually one big jaw for the cheeks, and that can usually give me this sort of a nasolabial fold. And here I'm going to play with it with my anthropomorphized warthog character. So I'll start out with joints in the corners of the mouth, skeleton, create joint. Some of the bind methods are much better if the joint is completely inside the mesh, so I'm just going to scoot it in. I usually bind by distance where it doesn't really matter, but it's always good to have options. And I think with this character, yeah, I'll just try 3. So then my second joint, Q to get out of the tool, pop back into it, and that way I get a clean joint each time. Try that again. There we go. And again, I'm going to move these just inside the mesh. But not very far, just right on the edge there. This will allow me to do voxel binding if I want to. I'm going to go to the next one. It's going to be interesting. I haven't played with a warthog face before, so trying to figure out how these tusks are going to rig and the lips around it. We'll see. And the little piggy snout, how does that work? I suspect that this will not be my last version of this. By doing this, I'm going to learn about rigging warthogs, and fortunately, I have time for this production to experiment and explore. And that's a rare luxury. Okay. So these are my lower mouth joints, or lower lip joints. Even though this character doesn't have much of a lip. Parent those to the jaw. And then the upper lip joints, I'm going to parent those to the head. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. So then when I move the jaw, oops, head control for that. The jaw opens and the upper lip stays still. Now, these joints, well, I should start naming these. I want to change these lower lips. I'm going to parent them to this nub instead. I just think it looks cleaner. Cool. Now this guy, I'm going to group to itself. Control G. And I'm going to snap the pivot of that group. Hold down D and V to snap. I'm going to name that mouth corner group. And I'm going to make that a child of the head. Freeze it. There we go. And then that group, I want that group to move half as much as the jaw, because when you open your mouth, this part ends up in the middle. It doesn't go all the way down. So I need to make the movement with the group. So I'm going to go to my node editor, Windows Node Editor, clear it because that's crazy making, and I want the rotation of that, the X rotation, to be equal to the jaw open, but half of it, so times 0.5. So I grab a tab to get the search function, multiply, divide, head control, jaw open into input 1x, input 2x to 0.5, and into rotate x into, I believe it is rotate x, let's double check. Here we go, and now we can see that this joint is moving half as much, and we'll keep that cheek shape as it goes. Excellent. The joints are set, so we need controls for them. Create NURBS circle, snap that up, and I like to rotate the ones around the lips 90 degrees in Z. There we go. That way they look more like lip piercings, which just kind of makes me giggle. Rotate this so it's visible, easy to see against the geometry. I think for the mouth corner, vertical, that'll tell me what it is. Snap and duplicate. Duplicate and snap. There we go. Now I get to name them all. Okay, so that's the controls named and placed. So of course it is time to freeze them. Name it, place it, freeze it is the rule for all controls. Modify, freeze transformations. Okay, so it's time to mirror the joints. I want to do this before they're constrained. There we go. Snap those controls. V to snap. Duplicate and V to snap. Okay. Modify, search and replace. L underscore R underscore. Right and right. So there's the mouth controls all set. And I just parent constrain. Well, actually, before I do the constraints, I want to get them actually in the hierarchy. Grab the upper lip controls. I'm going to group them. Upper lip control group. D to snap the pivot to the top of the head. There we go. Lower jaw controls. Select the controls and group them to themselves. Name the group. Lower lip control group. Snap it. I want to snap that to the jaw. There we go. Let's see, let's freeze transformations first. Let's make sure I freeze these upper ones too. Modify, freeze transformations. And then constrain the lower group. And we open the jaw, and it works as expected. And I can move that around. And I can close the jaw. And zero out the control. All is excellent. Then I go around constraining the joints. So I select the controller, and then the controlled, add, constrain, parent constrain, G to repeat, G to repeat, G to repeat, G to repeat, G to repeat. Got to get that upper lip control group, and I'm going to parent it to the head. So now when I rotate the head, everything but those guys are going with it. All good so far. These two controls are going to get the same parent as these joints, the mouth corner group. So I find it in the outliner, select the cheek controls, and then the mouth corner group, and P to parent. I need to refreeze these guys, modify, freeze, test it. Everything moves with the head, all the rotations, all the way around, and it all works as expected. And I can select my controls and zero them out. And we're good to go, and I'll be able to move the lips all kinds of fun ways now. Cheek control. Essentially, I just do the same thing. This is the area, so if the warthog smiles, this control, I'll move it back, and that's going to push the meat of this cheek out, and yeah, mostly out, depending on how much control I want. Yeah, it's different for different animals. For a human, I would just do one, usually, or like a cartoonier bunny rabbit, but I kind of feel like I want two in this case. So I'm going to go to my joint tool, and maybe I'll snap one here. Q to get out of the tool, and snap another one here. No, maybe here. Yeah, that looks like it'll give me a lot of control. Yeah, it feels good. And I'll name those, let's see. Cheek 1_lipAndCheekJoints. Cheek 2_lipAndCheekJoints. And I can copy one of these controls, duplicate it. It's going to stay under the head group, so that's fine. Snap it. Yeah, name it first. Cheek 1 control. Duplicate it. Snap it. Rename it. Now, since I was duplicating one of these, it's already in the head group. These are both going to already move with that, so I'll just freeze them as where they are. And I need to parent them to the head. Constrain, parent, maintain offsets on. G to repeat. Cool. Works as expected. Select these little guys. Skeleton. the next one. Mirror those over. Then I'll duplicate the controls, snap them, and constrain them in. And that will be that. And that is how we rig the face.